Artists are not gods, obviously, but we do share some of the same powers when it comes to creating worlds out of nothing. In this episode of YouTube Art School, I'll show you a simple framework to paint all sorts of environments in just 5 simple steps. Grab your pen and follow along. It's gonna be awesome. In this class, we're going to look at how to paint hills, clouds, rocks, trees, and other smaller plants, and how to assemble those few ingredients into beautiful environments. Whatever your level is as an artist, I think you'll have a lot of fun trying this. We're going to start with the land, and I find flat grounds way too boring, so instead we're going to go for rolling hills. Layers of hills overlapped to create depth. 2 to 4 layers, should do the trick, and for this to look right, we'll need to add a bit of atmospheric perspective, because right now, everything feels flat. This will just translate basically to making each layer progressively less saturated the further back into the environment we go. It's important to have the sky in there already because the hills further back will take on the color of the sky, not just any random color. Already, that atmospheric perspective effect helps give this some depth, wouldn't you say? So moving on, every painting needs a focal point. Right now, there's nothing specific to look at. And a key part of fixing this will be to add a path for the eyes to follow. In one example here, I'll literally have a little path going from the foreground and leading us into the background to our destination, the focal point. This is also great to add a bit of storytelling, like where does this path come from? Where does it lead? And the answer to that question could be anything, like a big rune, which is what I'll do here. But, it could be like a weird tree, a house, a door, you name it. We don't have anything yet, but I'll try to arrange all the elements of the painting to kind of subtly point at it. You'll see what I mean soon. For now, though, before we move on to the next step, the ground still looks way too perfect. So let's add some grass texture. I recommend you focus on the transitions between the different planes of the image first when it comes to adding your details, and later the transitions between the light and the shadow. Basically, focus on transitions. I don't tend to add much detail anywhere else. And there we go. That already feels pretty good, even though the scene is empty. Like I said, you don't need to fill the whole area with details. I tend to focus mainly on the foreground because details in the background, probably would be too small to see at a distance. I will say though, for environments, it definitely helps to have custom brushes instead of painting every stroke by hand. And as a starting point, feel free to grab my starter brush set for free with the link in the video description. I'll add a few of the new brushes that I created for this video to the pack very soon. Down there, you'll also find a link to my art program, which is currently on sale at a massive discount until the end of the month, only to celebrate reaching 20,000 enrolled students. I don't want you to miss out on this deal. We go into this kind of content in much greater depth, along with many other art topics to help you build a complete foundation as an artist. We also have an awesome private Discord community for students only to help support your progress. Check it out at cgart.school or with the link in the description below. I don't do sponsorships, so it's thanks to all the students on the program that I can keep making these free classes on YouTube. So thank you. I love you. Now, back to my rolling hills. The only thing missing here would be some variation in the grass color because, grass is never all the same color, right? We can paint in some quick dirt patches and some areas with dead grass. Now, this looks a little bit more natural, and I guess we're ready to learn about the other ingredients to dress up the scene. The rest will go much faster, so here we go. Clouds. There are so many ways to paint clouds, but the easiest is probably the Ghibli way. Just having massive cumulonimbus clouds creeping up behind our scene with this big cloud brush from my advanced painter set, link also in the description in case you want it. I'll just paint the silhouette, and then on top of that, I'm just gonna create a new clipping mask and then quickly paint in some blue shadows with a similar brush, just like any soft brush should do. And then clouds also cast shadows, and I really love to use a big cloud shadow on the ground to help bring the emphasis to certain areas. Usually our eyes tend to follow the light, so the darker areas don't tend to stand out as much. And all this is a layer set to the multiply blend mode, so we can easily change things up if needed. This other example I did here has kind of the opposite thing going on, where the foreground is lighter instead. Isn't it cool just how much that changes the mood? Yes, it is. At this point, our environment is off to a good start, but we're missing stuff to fill it with. That's what the next steps will focus on, starting with the rocks. You might laugh at how easy this will be, just don't expect realism, right? I'm going for a very stylized type of environment. And then rocks are usually not meant to attract attention, at least not in this case. So with just a flat color at first, I'll use them mostly to help break up the green patches of grass. Just a couple of blobs here and there. Here I can just log that layer and paint in the darker shading and some cracks, you know, to break up those bigger shapes. Or I could have used a clipping mask for the shadows, I guess. Anyways, there are different types of rocks, of course, but they'll often be similar across a specific environment. So if I'm going for rounded flat rocks here, I'll just use the same type everywhere else also. And I tend to hide this layer here as I paint the rest, but if you place your bluish cloud layer on top of your layer stack, when it's enabled, we can see the details and the shadows will take on this bluish tint automatically too. That's the ambient light from the sky. And the final touch for these will be to erase their base a bit using a grass brush maybe. This way it kind of feels like the grass is growing all around it and makes it feel more grounded. Nice. Moving on to the trees. The way we'll do the trees here is going to be super easy again. It's a great method when things don't need too much detail, like when none of the trees are like too close in the scene. And it's easier to have the tree start behind something, like behind these hills, behind a rock even, just to avoid painting roots. Big brain. So I'll just start with a big blob, and I made this simple brush just for that. Next, I'll add a splash of shadow at the bottom, and then roughly paint in some lighter branches on top of that. We can add a bit of shadow on the side that's opposite from the sun's direction in our scene, and then we're done. Very low difficulty and works great to fill up an environment. But before we wrap this up, I love imagining there's a big tree off camera that's casting shadow onto the environment, like is happening on the path here. Just like with the clouds casting shadows, this is another great way to play with the lighting. And we're almost done. The smaller shrubs, bushes, and flowers will be the finishing touch. While adding details like this, I recommend you use clusters rather than adding stuff everywhere kind of evenly. Things in nature tend to group together. It looks good to add bushes and flowers next to some bigger elements already found in the scene. This big rock, for example, might look good with some bushes in front and behind it. You can see here, I'm just using the same method I used for the tree. Super simple. And from there, maybe we could add a few tall grass blades by just erasing the layer completely. It's always funny to me how well this works. And then, you know, just rinse, repeat for the rest. And voila. Pretty cool, right? The last thing we can add are these flowers here. It's just one that I painted and just copy pasted a bunch of times. So to quickly recap everything, let's go over the process again, but with the other environment I worked on, just to show you a bit of range for this method. Here, we're starting with the hills and the sky again. I just added a bit more shape to the hills in the background, and now it looks kind of like a mountain. This one won't have an actual path, but I'll make this same big rock here the destination. And I'll try to arrange all the details to lead the eyes there. You can slap in some clouds, different shapes, you know, but I still use the same method. And then I'll add a bunch of rock formations leading to our mysterious rock to act as the path, leading the eyes there. We have a different lighting for this one, like I showed you earlier. So let's add those cloud shadows in there. Ooh, already looks pretty good. Next, let's add some trees behind this hill, the branch details and the shading. And all that's left to add will be the smaller plants, arranged again in a few clusters around here to draw attention to it. As a finishing touch, I added a simple torch and a quest mark, of course. That's a quest for you. A quest to paint another environment like this. Get to it, because that's gonna be it for this week's class. This is a method that I use basically all the time now when I paint environments. It's simple and allows for a super wide range of results very quickly when you get the hang of it. Now, if you feel like it, you can spend way more time rendering things out, of course. I just prefer the rough look here, and I love the speed at which I can pump these out. Also, it's just super fun to do, so I hope you give it a shot. Let me know if this was helpful, and please do tag me on social media if you try it. I love to see what you guys create. Your quest awaits. All right, I'll see you next week.